but we have a hard time justifying beauty. So you think, okay, why do we have to justify beauty? There are times we have to justify beauty. So in our government-funded, taxpayer money school system, at least where I'm from in North America, the arts have been defunded and defunded and defunded in the school system, because when you look at somebody who can't solve an equation in math, you say, well, I can see that they're not going to be able to do this job, this job, this job, this job. But when somebody can't make a convincing illustration of the lamp behind me, we can't connect it to how that's going to feed them, or how they're going to make money, or be a productive part of society. And so, therefore, when we have to make a decision to give $1 towards engineering or give that dollar towards the art department, in general, the dollar goes towards engineering these days. Welcome to Life with Strings Attached. I'm your host, Jamie Gale. In this episode of Life with Strings Attached, I'm joined once again by Italian luthier Giulio Negrini, someone who sits right at the intersection of tradition, innovation, and the changing culture of music. Today we're stepping back from the bench and looking at the bigger picture, how music is evolving, what novelty means in a post-rock era world, and how the legacy of great musicians of the 1950s through 90s still shape the way that we think about instruments today. We talk about the current movement towards new sounds, new experiences, and new expectations from players of every generation. And we explore what it means for musicians whose physical relationship with their instruments is changing, and how builders like Giulio respond to the culture that's always moving forward. It's a conversation about where we've been, where we're going, and a desire for something new. I thoroughly enjoyed my conversation with Giulio Negrini, and I hope that you do as much as I did. Giulio.
Jamie.
Welcome to Life with Strings Attached. Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Great.
So glad to be here.
Yes, great. How are things there in Switzerland? Is it? Do you have snow yet?
Yeah, we had a little bit of snow, but just looking outside the window because I'm locked in the workshop right now with all the NAMM project and stuff like that. So I don't know what's happening outside since like a couple of months. Seems fine.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
How are you? Where are you?
No snowboarding this year.
No, not this year. Maybe
Not
later,
this
after
year.
now.
All right. Yes. Okay. All right. Sounds good. You can snowboard close to NAMM. Do you know that?
Is it? Where?
Yeah. Well, it's one of the interesting things about Southern California is that I think within an hour you can go up the mountain and you can be snowboarding.
Oh,
and then
wow.
back down to the beach. It's one of the things
Nice.
that people love about that location.
Wow, that's true. Actually, I wanted to go to the Sequoia Park a few years ago, but it was closed because of the snow. So yeah, we can do that as well. No?
Yeah. No, Sequoia Park's more like 7 or 8 hours, but
Yeah.
I really mean like up the mountain from
Really 1 hour,
the
okay.
valley, and yeah, something like this. And so, if you want, we can. There's a number of snowboarders in the BGS.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not going down the hill. I'll be at in the lodge having a drink. But if you'd like, I'll connect you with a few other snowboarders from there. Actually, Ruben from Joy Guitars was a competitive snowboarder.
Yeah, I heard the podcast.
Snowboarder. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, he'll be in
yeah.
the BGS again this year also, and so maybe a few of you can do this and try and go to the beach to the mountains in one day and back.
That can be fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great. Wonderful. I'm in Tuscany. You asked where I was. I'm in Italy right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. So it's we'll be here until the NAMM show. So
good.
Yeah, good place to be.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I bet. Well, you've been there for a while now, right? Like a year or so, 2 years.
Well, we've had the place for a couple of years now. Yeah, that's right. But I still have a place in Canada. We go back and forth between them. So, but after our tour season finished this year, we came here to Italy, and we're doing all the tour follow up and all that. So, It's part of what made me think about contacting you. Actually, was the experience on tour this year was very interesting, and so I arranged contacts with a few people who I think have business that is relevant to this. And so, I mean, I guess we're just going to jump into it at this point in time. So,
Sure.
on the 2025 BGS tour, there was a very marked difference in the marketplace. There's been a shift for sure. And I've heard much of the guitar community talking about a decline. Things are very slow right now. Hey, we sold too many guitars during the pandemic. People don't need guitars. The uncertainty in the marketplace, all of these reasons, and they could be reasons. However, we've just finished the most successful boutique guitar showcase in history.
Okay.
By far. To the point where I'm not sure we can hit it again. Like, it might just be a high watermark, and we'll look back to this year and say, wow, remember that year when we sold a ridiculous amount of guitars? And the thing is, the things that changed is all of the multi-scale and headless guitars went first. All of them. And you didn't actually have guitars on tour. I guess I should say that to the audience. Giulio's been with us at NAMM, but you weren't with us on this tour. But the things that I learned, the things that I saw on the tour, I think are relevant to you and the types of work that you do. And so, yeah, all of the modern guitars, all of the Strandbergs, the Dingwalls, the Padalkas, the Dean Gordons, the Mike Sankey, all of these guitars sold in multiples, through. And so these are guitars that are, OD. These are all guitars that are adjacent, let's say, to G&G. We only deal with unique world-class makers, so we don't deal with anybody who's the same. But you're certainly in the same direction with the same type of community, the same type of customer. And we saw customers this time who, we didn't sell these multi-scale guitars and headless guitars to young people. We sold them to people between 50 to 80 years old.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay.
Right? So that's interesting. And beyond that, we didn't get all of the people saying, hey, what is this? Or, oh, I can never imagine playing it. Because we normally get those types of comments where people don't understand it. They're not interested in it. That's weird. And now we had a lot of very legitimate questions from older people saying, just tell me about this. Okay. They could see it's not going away. And that maybe that they need to evolve and learn about this or be left behind. And most people don't want to be left behind. There's like 15% of the population who doesn't really care. They're happy being a historical reenactment and they identify with that, and that's perfectly fine with them. And they'll say things like, hey, if it was good enough for the Beatles, it's good enough for me. Or if it's good enough for Bob Dylan, it's good enough for me, right? But that's a smaller percentage of the marketplace who will stay there indefinitely. Kind of the things that were there when they were born. And so I'm curious to talk with people like yourself who have been committed to this particular type of marketplace, this particular tribe, if you will. If you're seeing anything from your side, or if you're just busy making guitars, not really thinking about it because you're, well, as you once said to me, the fish is unaware of the water.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
so Giulio,
completely submerged into my own reality, of course. And yeah, I was about to ask, did you have any two-temperament guitar during the show?
No, as a matter of fact, when I asked people if we could do anything to improve, they're like, that was great. The only thing they said is, I wish there were more extended range guitars.
Okay.
So everybody played it safe a little bit. That's the reason I answered your true temperament question, is even the people who made very modern guitars sent the safe ones. I only had 6-string guitars, and I had 5-string basses, because 5-string is actually the safe bet for someone like Dingwall.
Yeah.
90% of Dingwall sales are 5-string.
Okay.
Then 6, and then 4. 4 is their smallest percentage of sales. And so when you ask something like True Temperament, I would love to have a True Temperament guitar on tour with us again. We have in the past. to continue that, but I feel, yeah, one of yours, yeah. So this isn't a sales call, Giulio.
No.
Yeah.
Actually, you sold two of them, to temperament. I mean, one for sure. The other during NAMM show.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
So I can see these multi-scale things growing up. I made the first one in 2008, and it was a request from a customer. He wanted a Charlie Hunter copy, and I did that in 2008, and was my first multi-scale guitar as well. There were no multi-scale around. I mean, Nox did, but it wasn't really. It was too early, I guess.
Yeah.
And since then,
this is the Charlie Hunter Jeff Trigot electric, the one made by Jeff Trigot. That you were asked to make something like that one.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Or Novax himself. I think he made it.
Was it Novak's one? Okay, because Charlie also played one made by Jeff Trigot for years also, and it's 8-string. I think it's currently owned by Adam Miller, actually, another wonderful guitar player.
Oh yeah.
But
it was an 8-string, and it was like a 5 dedicated to the guitar and 3 to the bass side and bass output. Yeah. 2 separate outputs. Yeah. So it wasn't a 8-string guitar overall, but it was a combination of bass and guitar together. And since then, I immediately did 7 strings for my endorser, and everybody was really like, oh, what is this? But we are speaking about 15 years ago now, 17 years ago, actually. So finally took off. So I'm very glad to hear that. And even at the show, nobody's asking why the frets are slanted like that. It seems like finally took off. So they're buying 6-string multi-scale, right? At your show, not the 7. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have any 7 or 8 strings, and so the customers, when I asked them if we could do something to make the show better for them in the future, which is a question I commonly ask, I want to be in touch with what they want. The answer many times came back to me, I'd like to see some 7 and 8-string guitars, some more extended range guitars at the show.
Okay.
And because the market has been a kind of a safe place, I think that even the guitar makers chose to send guitars they thought had the highest likelihood of selling. So they send the 6-string, not the 7 or the 8. And oddly, I think that if they had brought 7s and 8s, they would have also sold. Definitely 7, maybe 8. Actually, I recently heard that. I can't valid. Okay, I recently heard from a very, very reliable source that one of the biggest guitar sellers in the entire world, their number 3 SKU last year was an 8-string guitar.
Okay.
From one of the retailers, one of the biggest retailers in the world. And I shouldn't name names. I shouldn't name where I got the information from or who they were. Okay. But that an 8-string SKU was one of the hottest sellers in 2024 for one of the biggest retailers in the entire world.
Okay. Good.
And that's
it is taking off finally. I'm really happy to hear that. And I always propose an instrument with a lot of strings, and I think you saw my first work. It was a 10 strings one, multi-scale, the Shen. Was in Berlin, and I made a few actually, and for people aged 15 and 50 years old or more, actually not young people, and that want to explore this kind of super instrument.
Yeah, super instrument. I like that. Justify that.
Well, it is like the extreme version of a guitar. You can go up 1/5, and you have the A strings, and then you go down, and you have all this huge range of expression just at your fingertips, and you can use both hands on it. And you have also the electronic is very comprehensive. From a backer single coil, you can split them, key switch, you have the direct output, you have everything like a super machine under your hands that it takes some effort to control, but once you master it, you can go everywhere and you can freely express yourself in any direction, or even play just one strings all the time. It really depends on your skills and intention. You start phrasing your mind, you start phrasing it, you want to go up, you keep going up. And the same chords, you can open up a chord on the top, and then you can add the bass with the other hand. So it's
and the Shen that I've interacted with also had a few additional features where the high register on the bass side was fretless.
Yeah, correct.
There were no frets. So it was multi-scale, but the high register on the bass side had no frets. The treble side did, and the treble side also scalloped some of those.
Correct.
Some of the fretboard. Yeah, from underneath there. Yeah.
And it's headless.
Is it? Yes. Yeah. So I just really like the idea of conceiving this as a super instrument, because it's an instrument for more possibilities. And the interesting thing is I often hear people talk about, well, who's going to play that? Or I wouldn't know how to play that. And for some people, it's a deterrent. And for other people, it's like, oh, what? I don't know how to let's figure it out. It's exciting because there's new possibilities in there somewhere to be able to
curiosity.
find. Yeah. It's that curiosity and exploration, to find new music, new possibilities in there. And that's super exciting.
Sometimes when you have a new tool, you find new way to compose music. Like just changing the tuning, sometimes it's just an excuse to create something new. Otherwise, you are stuck in your own pattern, in your own licks when playing. So change the tuning or add the strings. In that case, you are completely in a new territory, and you can create new ideas. Just like noodling around, you will find something new inevitably. Also because you have higher strings that totally breaks the pattern of your chords while playing, because you cannot play open chords, especially with these many strings. So you need to find a new position, new fretting system, fingering system, and I think it sparks creativity in all direction. Looking at it and playing it.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about my experience for playing is limitations, expanding limitations and also contracting limitations, forcing yourself into a position which you're not used to being in and forcing yourself to create solutions. I really love this. So we've had 10 strings from you, and we've had 3 strings from Randy Parsons with and that's what's his? I'm blanking on the guitar player's name. The band is called Starcrawler, and this guitar player wanted a 3-string guitar, and I think they're all. It's 3 notes, like DGD or something of the sort, like the open strings.
So you can play with one finger.
Basically, you can play with one finger a lot. He doesn't play with one finger all the time, but you can in a way. And this guitar was also really inspiring to play, actually, because it forced you into a problem, let's say, for a moment, and you have to create a way to work within the limitation. And I think more people would be comfortable with fewer options than with more options. But in the end, it's the same thing. You're forced into a space in which you're not familiar with, and then you must find a way to create. And that's my favorite part of music.
Yeah, I like it too, a lot.
Yeah.
Other people are just scared, and that's okay. I mean, there are so many instruments, so many things available, so sometimes you're just inspired by a Stratocaster, a Relic Stratocaster inspires you to play, and so that's okay.
Yeah. Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop is your premier fretted instrument custom case maker, and we invite you to create a musical instrument case unlike any other, one that's unique to you. Every Cedar Creek custom case is hand-built by highly skilled craftspeople using only select woods, Providence Forge hardware, and premium instrument-friendly materials. At Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop, we are dedicated to helping you design the case of your dreams. Find out more at cedarcreekcases.com. So I used to own a music store for many years in the Toronto area, and we would take trades on musical instruments. And we had a substantial music school. We had about 600 students a week that came through there. And so we had a lot of young people coming through with, cheap instruments that upgraded over time. And I would love taking in these abused, sometimes really awful instruments. And I would always play them just the way they are. A drum set, a guitar, it didn't matter. Broken strings, dead strings. I might need to seriously wash my hands afterwards, but get a tetanus shot. But they always came in ways that forced me into a different musical experience, and I really enjoyed what it caused me to do. The solutions that I had to find, especially like an old drum set that's really bad, and the heads are like wavy. The heads are so beat up that they can't retain their structure anymore. Yes. And so they're sagging, and I just play it just the way it is. And it was super cool for me. I loved that. And so this becomes then a novel experience. And let me try and thread that needle for a second. The reason I'm talking about this is because I think novelty right now is what is working. That people want a novel experience, that we are closing a huge era, a huge explosion of really great music that happened sort of between this period of the 1950s and let's say the 1990s. We'll call that the rock era to a certain extent. And that the people who are inspired to play music because of the Beatles and Bob Dylan and Jimi Hendrix and such, they're 70, 80 years old at this point in time, and playing guitar is more complicated for them because their fingers don't work the way they used to. Their ears don't work the way they used to. They can't pick up heavy amplifiers, which was something they used to love doing. Huge amplifiers were part of the culture. And that's more and more complicated for them. And so this era is closing. We've also kind of expressed everything there is to express within this genres of music, and really the reason that rock is an explosion is because we really went from rock and roll to rock, to hard rock, to heavy metal, to new metal, so on and so forth, in a very short period of time. This happened very fast. The Beatles' whole career, and they've got a huge catalog of music, is 7 years. It's like 1963 to 1970, I think. And to listen to "I Want to Hold Your Hand" versus the "Let It Be" album, is just, there's so much change happened in these 7 years. It's really remarkable. And all of the instruments for this music, there have been thousands and thousands and thousands of instruments made to play this music. And I don't know that we need more of them. I think there might be enough that exist. Like your brother plays in a symphony orchestra.
That's right.
And the people who are there, most of them are not playing brand new instruments. They're playing instruments, especially the string section. They're playing very old instruments, hundreds of years old at this point in time. Yeah. Now they've been modified. They're not the same as they were 200 or 300 years ago. But the point is, there's enough great instruments for the people who want to reenact this music and play this music for centuries still to come, because it is great music and it is worth reenacting. And the music made on Stratocasters and Les Pauls and D18s, these are also, there's a lot of great instruments that do this already. And we might have hit the critical mass in this. And so what I saw on tour this year at the Boutique Guitar Showcase was novelty sold across acoustics, archtops, basses, electrics. It didn't matter.
Okay.
The things that created new possibilities sold. The things that were more traditional, and you probably already have something like that, they didn't get as much attention as they used to.
Okay, so it's
And
not
it was
only related
really
to the
noticeable.
multi-scale. It's all over the other section as well, not just the multi-scale.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, the multi-scale is now on the market since 20 years already, so it's not that novel anymore. I guess
30.
Yeah, 30 with
But yes.
Novux. Yeah,
Yeah, more than 30.
20 since the movement into the electric and into the heavy metal scene.
Yeah, okay, into heavy metal possibly, yeah. But I mean, Dingwall started making multi-scale basses in 95 and has not made a parallel fret bass since. That's 30 years at this point in
30
time.
years, yeah.
But it was not associated with a particular genre yet. Yeah.
But he had artists playing his basses since 2000, at least, famously, on stages.
Yes. Yes.
So the young generation started seeing those basses 20 years ago already. So it is actually time that it was how you say, when granted by the people that this is something that works and we can play it too. And they say if we go back in the 2000, a lot of people wanted to play Ibanez. And the Ibanez like the Steve Vai model. And again, we need to go back to 20 years before we have Steve Vai, with the innovation of Ibanez and his 7 strings, and was like 84. So it took again 20 years, and everybody in 2005 was playing an Ibanez 7 strings or Ibanez Steve Vai model. But it took 20 years even at that time. So I think it's part of a cycle. I'm very, very happy to hear that, since it's my market.
Yeah, yes. So, are there any changes in how customers are ordering guitars from you, percentages of people ordering a multi-scale instrument or 6 and 7, 8, 10, whatever it happens to be? Are you seeing a drift in a particular direction? And this is a difficult question. Let me preface this by saying for our listeners that Giulio's lead time is, I don't know what your lead time is currently, but it's more than 1 year. It's 2 years, right? And so the guitar you're building today was ordered 2 or 3 years ago, possibly.
Yes, 2 years.
And so this means that there's a lag in what was being ordered and what is happening today. So let's talk about instrument orders that have come in the last year. Do you notice any difference between the ones that you had in the previous?
Well,
so you're not going to build those for 2 or 3 years, but
once I start a guitar, I usually complete it in about 7 months. It's a part of a set, and before starting, we review all the specs. So if they change their mind during the past years, and it's now time to build the guitar, they can even change the fretting system. They can change all the overall project. Just a booking into my timeline. So we discussed the details pretty recently, when I start making them. So it's just a very tiny point of view, because I make very few guitars. So I can only speak for what I make. Right now, I'm making a lot of straight frets, strangely. Not many multi-scale. And because people are asking me about the inlays a lot. I moved into the inlays kingdom, and they really love what I do with the inlays, so they just want me to express that. And they even say to me, I just want this guitar to be in my living room. I don't even care that much about Tom Woods, and I just want this to be a work of art that you make and put in my living room. So I'm doing a lot of those. And
okay, I have a question to ask about that.
Yeah.
If it's about the artwork, then why not just make it a fretless?
Yeah. Actually, I've been asked also to make just a frame with the
just a frame.
just a frame, and the inlay made on a piece of wood without the guitar part. So even that is happening. So it's just moving in totally unexpected direction. And,
yes.
Yeah, but I also have customers that play guitar very well, and they ask me for a combination of the, like I'm making right now over there. Can I pick a neck just to show you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Bring it on in.
So I'm sorry for everybody that is just listening, like I do.
That's okay. If you're listening on Spotify, there is a video option. You can turn it on and see it in this moment, or YouTube. Yeah.
So this is on the making. You see, this is not a body, it's just a piece to keep the string in tension. And you can see it has 7 strings. So this guy play guitar, because when you ask for a 7 string, you usually play guitar. And you are interested in the shred part of it. Otherwise, you just ask a 16. You can play sometimes. So this guy plays a lot, but he asking for this full custom inlay that is inspired by a book, actually, a Japanese series of book of this girl that is like a alien. She's living on the moon and controlling a space station on the moon. She has superpowers, stuff like that. So it's a fantasy, as usual, nothing new there for me. But it's a guitar meant to be played, and they will have a tremolo, it will have a full set of custom pickups. So it's just another direction that the custom is taking for me. It's extreme embellishment.
Yeah, but I would argue that this is novelty.
It is.
And so when I say the market is moving towards novelty, towards things they don't have, as opposed to the known factors, that this is another way to move towards novelty, to have something unique and to have something that creates new possibilities. And whether that's musical possibilities or aesthetic possibilities, you know, they're both there. And there's many people who argue the whole aesthetic thing, and they claim a utilitarian function for the guitar and that aesthetics don't matter. But, you know, then ask that person to play another guitar. Yeah, exactly. They ask them to play a guitar they don't like the look of, but performs really well, and they won't do it. And so I think almost everybody has an aesthetic choice with the guitar, with exception of a few people. You know, famously, there was a blind guitar player from Toronto by the name of Jeff Healy who he played a Japanese Stratocaster, but he couldn't see the name of that headstock. He just played the one that felt and sounded right. And so, yeah, that's moving towards novelty. So why do I'm curious of 2 things, but I only have you in the interview. So one, do customers ever express why they're choosing to have a guitar made with a very particular inlay? And then 2, do you have a different idea as to what the inspiration is from what they communicate?
Well, usually they see something I published on my social media. They get inspired, and probably like I say, it's just a novelty. So they say, "Oh, I want that too." But for me, it's important my cat. Like for a guy, I just inlaid his cat on the neck, like a tattoo almost. And yeah, sometimes they bring some random ideas, totally disconnected, and I need to connect them together to create a coherent art piece going from left to right, up to down. And some other times they have very precise idea. Like it was this guy from Canada once went to Cuba, and for the first time he saw the beaches, the sea, the warmth. He took a few pictures, and when he got back to Canada, he was just so moved by his experience. He wanted a guitar that reminded him of that experience. So he sent me the picture, say, create something inspired by this, and I want to remember those emotions every time I play my guitar when I'm in my basement in Canada. So that's also adaptation from the inputs of the customers. It's pretty rare that I create something on my own idea, unless it's a show. Usually, all the guitar I make there is a customer behind it. Ask it for that.
Great. Okay. And do you think there's something else there besides just the customer ideas? Do you think that I've certainly been accused of trying to think too deeply about things. So am I making too much of this? Or do you think there are some other motivations there behind choosing a very specific aesthetic for a guitar that has a pictorial narrative, let's say?
Well, they want to be moved, of course, emotionally. So, I don't know. What do you mean? Do you have a...
Well, no, I think that's a good answer. It's a simple answer, and often they're the best. They want to be moved emotionally. We care deeply about these instruments, perhaps unreasonably deeply about these instruments. There's a bit of a mystery as to why we should care so much about this really kind of a mechanical interface, that we use to make music. But we get very emotional about them. We obsess about them.
Yeah.
I was recently in a private art gallery. It was a large house, a much larger house than most people live in. The person does not live in it. It's for their guitars on display, not in cases. So the entire house, every surface perhaps in the house is covered in guitars that he finds beautiful.
Yeah.
And interesting. He does play guitar. But mostly he sees images of them and says, "Oh, I want to have that in my life. I want to be able to look at that more."
Because he's moved, probably. Every time he looks at the guitar, he's moved emotionally. Inside, there is something that clicks, and it makes he connects with it.
Yes.
Like going to a museum.
And
Why
not
go
only
to a museum? You go there to be moved, to get inspired, to be amazed by the beauty.
Yes. Exactly. Not everyone goes to museums, though.
True.
Yeah.
Not everybody has a custom guitar.
I find That's right. That's exactly the normal answer. I actually had a guitar maker recently tell me that they released a guitar and someone made some sort of comment that, hey, I could have 2 of this guitar for that price, and they felt like they had to justify the price of their guitar. And I was like, that's true. So?
That's it.
We're not all driving Toyota Corollas or F-150s. We don't all just wear a white cotton T-shirt and blue jeans. There are very practical things to wear in the world, practical things to drive, practical things to eat. But, I like different things to eat, and I like different experiences. And I think if you look at any marketplace, you will see that there's a wide variety of things. And you could judge one by being the best of the utility at the best price, I guess, the best function for doing something particular. But that's a rather flat, colorless existence, isn't it? Beauty is important. But we have a hard time justifying beauty. So you think, okay, why do we have to justify beauty? There are times we have to justify beauty. So in our government-funded, taxpayer money school system, at least where I'm from, in North America, the arts have been defunded and defunded and defunded in the school system, because when you look at somebody who can't solve an equation in math, you say, well, I can see that they're not going to be able to do this job, this job, this job, this job. But when somebody can't make a convincing illustration of the lamp behind me, we can't connect it to how that's going to feed them or how they're going to make money or be a productive part of society. And so, therefore, when we have to make a decision to give $1 towards engineering or give that dollar towards the art department, in general, the dollar goes towards engineering these days.
Yeah, I get it. But somebody...
Because it's really hard to quantify why we need something beautiful.
Yeah.
Versus why we need a car that works.
True, but somebody needs to design the car. And I need to design the lamp as well. I need to have idea and creativity to create that. And sometimes that is missed from our politicians. That is not a square car. It has all these curves, design, the shape. It's not only for aerodynamics. You look at the car and you say, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I want that one. Because it's beautiful to look at. It's another piece of art going around, designed by somebody with creativity in mind. So yeah, we need to raise awareness about that. Because it is taken for granted. But even in the ancient times, there was a section of people that was just dedicated to being artistic. And usually scientists were artistic too. They were like connected. And so there was this relevance of scientists and arts.
I agree. But there is an argument that says, though, that scientists had to learn how to draw and paint because they didn't have an iPhone to take a picture. And now that we have an iPhone to take a picture, does a scientist still need to draw?
No, but he needs to connect the dots between the pictures, the ideas. If you take a picture, it remains a picture. You cannot do much about it. But if you want to create something, you need to create a connection between that picture and something else that inspires you to create a third element that never existed before. And the phone cannot do that. It's the person that can connect smartly the two things to create a third one.
But that's narrative. So here's an example. I have a book here. Hang on. Do you know this picture? Have you seen it before?
Yes.
It's okay if you... Yeah. Do you know this picture?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. It's different. Yeah.
Yeah. These are photographs by a physicist at MIT by the name of Harold Egerton.
Okay.
His first one is called Milk Drop Coronet. And he was the first person to make really high-speed cameras to capture things the human eye could not. And so here is a moment after the milk drop hits a red plate, and it goes into a shape that is unexpected. It goes into the shape of like a crown. There's no milk in the center anymore, but yet it's all connected in a circle, like a crown is. And these pictures were, and the one in the back, for those who are listening, is a famous picture that Egerton made of a bullet passing through an apple. And what's so remarkable about this is that the bullet is going in one direction, but the apple is blowing out in both directions at the same time. Which is, okay, why? How is that possible? The bullet went one way. Shouldn't all of the apple be going that way? And yet it doesn't. And now, as a physicist, Egerton has to sort of, this brings up questions, and then you have to theorize, and you have to prove and disprove what is happening there. And this is strictly science for Egerton. A number of years later, the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art in New York, wants to do an exhibit of Egerton's work as great artwork. And he's like, I'm not an artist. I'm a scientist. And they're like, well, we think it's amazing art. And he was just doing his science. And so it's not Egerton who made the narrative around his what we would see as artwork. I mean, I'm inspired when I see those things. I think it's art, even if his intention wasn't there. And so what do you have to say about the fact that art is created unintentionally this way just by capturing a moment for scientific reasoning?
Well, because in the end, it's the singular interpretation that creates the art itself. Like sometimes you see a picture, like you see a Picasso, and you need to, you don't have instruction to read it, and unless you are familiar with the other people's interpretation of that artwork, if you look at it, you need to find a way to make sense of it. And to do so, you just create a theme in your own mind to justify what you are seeing. And so when you see the beauty in it, after contemplating it, now it's art. Before the reasoning, there is no art. There is just colors. There is just things on a canvas. But when you start thinking about it, creating connection, and feeling something clicking inside, you say, oh, that's why. Now I can see the face is this, but it's also this. So you can see the multitude of expression in a single picture. It's not just one expression, it's all of them. I can see anger, I can see happiness, I can see fear. But just because you took the time to create a theme in your own mind to justify what you're seeing, it may be the ideation of the artist, may not be. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so there's a artist by the name of Olafur Ellison who does experiential art for the most part. And to illustrate this point, he created, well, did he do it to illustrate the point? One of the points it illustrates is that he did, and he created a rainbow inside a warehouse in Berlin. And to create a rainbow, you need three things. You need water. So he had a misting machine happening there. You need light. And then the third thing that you need is an eyeball.
That's right.
Or a perceiver.
The observer.
And actually, if you and I were standing beside each other, we would not see the exact same rainbow because we would be at a different point of refraction of the light through the water. You know, the triangulation will be different for you and me. And so we don't see the same rainbow. We're all seeing a slightly different rainbow, which is interesting. And what's really interesting is that if you close your eyes, there literally is no rainbow.
Right.
Because the rainbow requires the human eye. It's not like when we close our eyes and Michelangelo's in the room, the statue is still there, right? But when you close your eyes, when you're looking at the rainbow no longer exists.
Yes.
Which is fascinating. And then you take this idea and you extrapolate it and say, well, actually, when there's nobody in the room, there is no art. Because art requires a person to contemplate and to perceive it.
Yes.
Which I think is what you were saying. I'm just digging deeper with it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's
It's completely personal.
It is also useless. Because if there is no consequences beside the looking, hearing, or feeling it, it's actually purely human in the sense of experiencing it. And it's not... So when I make an inlay, I'm not making the guitar playing better. I'm not improving its tonal quality. I'm not doing anything that a blind person can perceive. And but for the person that asked the guitar or that chose to buy the guitar, he's acquiring for his art purpose only as the perceiver, as you said. So yeah, there is no further point. It's just that.
This space is normally reserved for brands who make stories like this possible, like D'Addario, and the Cedar Creek Custom Case Shop. If your company belongs in this conversation, let's talk. We partner with brands who value craft, culture, and the quiet power of a well-placed idea. Yeah, it's for them, and they get to decide. Yeah. And that's... It relates also to the question of value. So I also, while we were on tour this year, I met with more than one collector. So it was first this one collector who reached out to me to say, hey, I would like you to come and visit my private gallery if you're interested. And many of the pieces that I've sold throughout my career, many of the most remarkable pieces throughout my career, the art installation pieces from the NAMM show, some interesting collections. For me to walk through this gallery, I walked through there with my team, which is my family, Roberta and Zach, you know them, and we went together. And for all of us, it was a walk down memory lane for us, because there are pieces that I sold or interacted with in some way professionally 20, 25 years ago in my career. And so to walk through and see all of these pieces, it was, it was like walking through a touch point of time for me, many time capsules over and over again. But I also connected with a few other collectors while we were on the road, and I connected with actually, the podcast we're about to release is George Groon, one of the most important minds in vintage guitars in the world. And George and I do not see eye to eye on this and why someone might collect a boutique guitar. He sees things very much in a functional and historical point. While at the same time, his office is full of artwork and animals. He's actually a trained zoologist and animal psychologist. So he has many snakes in there. He's not one, but two hippopotamus skulls in his office area. Okay. He's a very interesting person, but yet for whatever reason fails to see value of artwork combined with a musical instrument, even though he invests in sculptures and antiques and animals. And for whatever reason, he refuses to make this, he refuses to give value to these things. As a matter of fact, he sees it often as taking value from a functional object, which is fascinating, But in the end, to get to my point, is that the value, just like art, is ultimately determined by the buyer, the person who decides, yes, that is worth it for me. Yes, someone else says, oh, that's a lot of money. I said, yeah, okay. You get to decide that's a lot of money, but so does the person buying it. They get to decide, is that a lot of money? Am I happy with the exchange of value for that? And it's ultimately like art. It's either they connect or they don't connect, and they see value enough to want to have it a part of their everyday life, or they visit in a museum or on the internet one day. There's different ways to experience it.
So, every year I see you on the NAMM show, you have a different pair of shoes. And, you're
yes,
passionate about them. But for me, shoes are just functional. I just use them to run. I just use them to work. But when I see you, I'm amazed because you have always these different shoes. And I can clearly see the effort that you put in choosing them, and the way you wear them, the way you combine with your dress. Why you're doing that? Tell me.
It's a bit of a uniform, to be honest. So, one, I'm inspired by them. I started with those shoes. It was one shoe designer in particular, as most of my shoes. His name is John Fluvog. He's a Canadian shoe designer. The fact that he's Canadian doesn't mean anything to me. I'm not a nationalist in any way. We just happen to be from the same country. And the first time I ever saw them was on a guitarist's feet on a concert I went to see.
Oh, okay.
And they really stood out to me because these shoes were, maybe they were blue with a silver flame up the side of them. They were pretty dramatic. And the first pair of shoes I bought were those same ones, except slightly more conservative. They're in an oxblood leather with an oxblood flame up the side. So the flame is not obvious at first, when you see them. And so it was for performance at first, but I'm not the guitar maker like you. You're the artist, the artisan. I'm not the musician. I am an artist, musician, businessman who sells what can probably be most easily defined as luxury items, because luxury is defined by the unnecessary. And if you just want a necessary guitar, you can buy something else. You know, if you want to play Rolling Stones, that is, you know, you can't play the things that many of your customers play on a Telecaster. They need something more. Okay. But if we want to just look at utility, and so what the narrative when you look at Jamie needs to be something of respectable businessman who is still an artist, who still connects with the arts and knows both sides of the story. And so that is a nice button-up black shirt, always a button-up black shirt. You've almost never seen me in something else, especially because I always see you when I'm going to be on camera. And if I wear a different color shirt on camera, I regret it 1 week later. Oh, what was I thinking when I wore that? Yeah. It dates everything, right? Whereas in the black button-up shirt, you can see this video 20 years from now, and it's probably going to be okay. You know? And then I have to play it down a little bit because many musicians are made uncomfortable if you're wearing like a suit, too fancy. So the black button-up shirt is paired with blue jeans. Nice blue jeans, but blue jeans typically. And then a great pair of shoes. I can put out the personality with the shoes without overwhelming the person who I'm talking to or interviewing. You don't notice it necessarily at first. You have to see me from a bit of a distance I'm a tall guy. You know, you're looking up, you know, and so the shoes are the place where I get to express something more without doing a disservice to my customers or to the job.
Okay. But I think this is a way you justify yourself, the pleasure of buying something that moves you and that's unique and it's artistic. So this is just a cool narrative, but in the end, you're just justifying, because you can sell guitar with a black shoe with no problem.
Well, sure I can.
Yeah.
But to sell interesting guitars, frankly, I think that you have to be an interesting person. And I'm not just selling guitars because that's how I make money. You know, it's really a bad way to make money. I mean, I'm better at it than most.
I agree.
But I could be selling something where you make a lot more money. You know, I could be selling houses or pharmaceuticals or something other than guitars. You know, I'm sticking to the things that my obsession and what interests me and the passion. But I'm still an artist who has to express himself. And so, you know, the one pair of shoes I've worn in recent years that are not Flute Vox have been a yellow pair of Onitsuka Tigers, Mexico 66. And this shoe tells a story for those who know, for those who are part of the tribe, you know, and that is, oh, you like the movie Kill Bill. You like Quentin Tarantino, you know, and, or possibly you like Bruce Lee if you want, but Tarantino was riffing on Bruce Lee at that point in time. And so people stop me in the streets or in hotel breakfast rooms, you know, and say, oh, nice shoes. I have some too, you know, or they show me a tattoo they have of Kill Bill or something of the sort, right? And so I'm still expressing myself. Always. We're always telling a story. As a matter of fact, there's recently, my wife and I were watching the old series, not very old, but old enough now, I think 20 years old or something of the sort, 15 years old, that was done of Sherlock Holmes with Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if you have seen this.
No.
But he did a series 3 years of it or something like this. And there's this episode where he's solving a crime and he goes to see a dominatrix, you know, a woman who has been hired for sexual favors for the most wealthy elite, and you know, you don't want to let it out there. Someone in the royal family there's a photograph of them with her, they're married, something of the sort like this. There's a scandal potential, right? And he gets into her house, her place of business somehow, and she knows it. She's got him on camera, and she's talking to her assistant. She says, "What are you going to wear?" She says, "I'm going to wear my battle uniform." Next part of the scene is Sherlock finds, or she walks into the room with Sherlock and she has absolutely nothing on. You don't see it, but you're aware by the faces of the other people in the room that she's got nothing on, right? And then she sits down and she continues to talk with him. But of course, she's completely unnerved, Sherlock, right? And, oh my God, his friend, the guy that's always with him,
Watson.
awful Sherlock Holmes fan. Watson, thank you very much. I have awful memory for names. So she's completely unnerved Watson. He can't even look at her. Sherlock is engaged in battle. He's looking her in the eye, you know. And she says to him, you know, that he says something about her choosing to throw him off with the clothes. He's telling her a story. And she counters and says, no, your clothes are the story. Your clothes are the story you're telling everyone else in the world. Without clothes is the only real truth. Are clothes even a black t-shirt, Giulio? Or a black button-up in my case? Are still us telling a story. It's still a narrative. It's still projection. And I do not understand the people in the world who insist that everything is utility, who don't see that everything is a story, that everything is narrative, that everything is the connection.
Yeah.
I don't understand. But yet I find myself professionally having to explain it a lot.
Yeah. I think they are just unaware. They are doing it, but they don't realize they are doing it because it's inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we negotiate who we are with the people around us. Mm-hmm. There's nobody who is just individual by themselves, that unless they're literally insane and have no empathy and no awareness of of anyone around them. We call that insanity, you know. But if they have all of their regular faculties, we are negotiating who we are through what we say, through what we're wearing, through what guitars we're playing. Yes. Through what color the guitar is, what shape it is, how many strings it has.
Exactly.
All of these things. Some of these are nuances that people miss. Mm-hmm. But for those who know, you've
part of
quite a bit.
Identity. It's your identity. So you find yourself, this is me. So even they late when they ask it, going back to the original question, represent who the person is on the other side. And my job is to try to match their desire as much as possible. Their identity, how they feel about the guitar that they will have and play and show to other people.
Yeah.
Like your
shoes,
does that
ever go wrong? Has that ever gone? Yeah. Has that ever gone horribly wrong?
Horribly wrong. I don't think so. They are part of the building step by step. They know what's coming up. Maybe... Well, it went wrong one time. I told this story on the podcast with my teacher, and I made one of my first guitar for him. It was so enthusiastic, and when my guitar playing teacher, and when I delivered my guitar, he said nothing, and I wrote my long email after a month with all the. He said the guitar plays fine, and then all the defects that the guitar had. On the finish and on the fret, and it doesn't look good. The color is too orangey. I asked for a red, and there is a bulge of finish there, and it was so painful. I didn't care at all about the aesthetics back then. I just wanted. I was a musician that was making guitars. I was completely focused on the guitar side, and but it made me so sad. Actually, so sad and angry at the same time because I wanted his positive feedback so badly, and I didn't receive it, so I never wanted to feel like that again. And since then I started making the most beautiful guitar I can possibly make. Even cost me way too much effort to make it perfect in the way I wanted. So when they ask me a guitar, I usually am very careful not to be disappointing them. So, besides that one story, no, I don't think so.
So, that's a good story. but I really mean the artwork. And let me try and express my question better. So after someone retires from British Parliament, if they've been a prime minister, there's always a painter hired, and the painter paints their likeness, and it gets hung up for history. Here's the painting of this prime minister. Winston Churchill's last session as prime minister, when he was retiring, was in the modern period, the mid-century sort of modern period, I guess, 1950s or 60s at this point in time in England. And the painter that they got to do him, he didn't choose. And Churchill, by the way, was a competent painter. He painted landscapes, and you would look at those and think those are good landscapes, you know? Okay. So he was schooled and competent. And this guy insisted on catching the character. He didn't take any feedback. He never showed him the painting before it was released. And Churchill took the painting and put it in the fire.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He hated it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a painting of themselves. That's a reflection. It's not a self-portrait because he didn't paint it, but it's meant to be a reflection of the person. Mm-hmm. And the way that you're describing your inlays is a reflection of your customers. Mm. And so you are charged with presenting them an image that they're happy with. You know, to quote our friend John Sullivan, well, to paraphrase our friend John Sullivan, you know, it's like a good fitting pair of jeans. You know, you just feel better in them, right? Mm-hmm. and when they get this, they're supposed to feel better about themselves somehow, if it is a reflection of themselves, if it is a very personal choice. Mm-hmm. So this is what I mean, and maybe it's never happened, or maybe you wouldn't want to talk about it if it did happen. So tell me if I'm being too impertinent here. Mm-hmm. But have you ever had it where a customer says they're not happy with the interpretation of how they see themselves in the end with the artwork?
Not yet, but I'm not happy of all of them. So maybe the customer is okay, but I'm not. So, mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe they have some like range of appreciation that goes from I like it, I'm enthusiastic, kinda meh, but it's okay, it's very well made, so who cares? But when I look back at my work, most of the time, I would like to redo them all. I see them and I see, oh my God, now I'm so much better in doing this, and the message isn't clear. It could be I could have used different stone to make it pop up more in that direction. So what I'm learning now is to create the final product with so many details as possible before making it, so I can look at it multiple times and adjust it before doing it. So it's not relative to the customer, but personally, yes, I have to fight against my own past works.
Do you think it's possible to make one that you'd be perfectly happy with?
Sure, the next one. That's already the answer.
And you don't think you'll look at that one day and say, I could do that better?
No, because I haven't looked at it yet. That's why it's the next one. When I do it, it's already the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, the answer is no.
Yeah. And that's okay. There's a certain amount of unhappiness with it. You know, I've been working on a series of interviews and a book I intend to release on the most remarkable guitars I've ever experienced. And what I have found over and over again is that these guitar makers view this period of their life not in a good way. Like, the guitars I want them to talk about often they don't really want to talk about this guitar because they were so obsessed about it. They lost a ton of weight. They got sick. It was not a good time in their life. It was this obsessive project that maybe almost killed them, you know? And I think that's really interesting to see that maybe some of the best work comes from this, what would be perceived as a very unhealthy situation by most psychologists, I think. Have you had any of these sort of really obsessive points where you went into a project and pushed yourself right to the line, like too hard? Or do you keep a more healthy balance on things?
That's, I think, the worst question you can ask to a guitar maker. We are totally out of balance. You know, next year will be 20 years I'm doing this. And I always think the next year I will finally be more balanced. I will add another year to the waiting list and I will stop this rush. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think the one I'm doing right now is just, it is destroying me. It is very, very complicated. And
is this one I asked you to do?
yes. It's so, oh my gosh. What am I putting myself into?
Wait a second. I didn't ask you to do it. I gave you an opportunity to do something and you proposed something.
Yes.
It's your idea, not mine. I just said, here's an opportunity.
Yes, but you know, why waste an opportunity, right? And yeah, it is consuming me. I hope I will be able to finish. I'm at this point right now. I'm not sleeping. I'm just going through all the parts. I just ordered yesterday 2,000 euro of new stones, because I don't have enough. This thing is so huge. It's so huge, and yeah. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'm very excited, but I'm also so scared, like I've never been before. But yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I hope so.
I say that because I believe in you. I believe in your ability to see it through. Yeah. You know, if you work with artists, guitar makers, creatives, as much as I do, and as many as I do and have, you have to accept a certain amount of neuroticism that happens with this.
Yes.
And there's lots of people who tell me they're going to do things and don't follow through. But Giulio, you have been one of the most consistent guitar makers I've ever known. Okay. You're reliable. You show up. You've been a part of the Boutique Guitar Showcase at NAMM every single year.
Yes. Yes, even the summer NAMM.
Yeah, there's even the summer NAMM. Yeah, yeah. And that there's a level of consistency and drive with you. Yeah. And you're not just doing the guitar making. I mean, I see the other things you're doing. You know, I see that to be healthy, you know, you're taking up inline skating, you're doing marathons, you're doing all sorts of different things. So that I presume is trying to provide an equilibrium of balance through the many hours standing in one place in a workshop.
It just to be able to hold the things I'm building for the NAMM show. It's so heavy that I need some strength to keep it up with it, because otherwise I cannot be able to build this thing.
As a guitar builder and a player, you have a sense for when something's working right. That's why so many of the world's best trust D'Addario. Unmatched tone, perfect intonation, and strings made to the tightest tolerances in the industry. That reputation is no accident. It's the result of 400 years of being obsessed with quality and innovation. D'Addario, when you know, you know.
Yeah. I'm trying in the last few years to have a little life outside of guitar making. It's been a fantastic journey until now, making guitars, and it's been like my total focus since I was 16, this guitar thing. And it has always been moving in different direction. In the beginning, it was more about performance. Then it became about innovation with the multi-scale to temperament. Back then was like really new stuff. Then the pickup making, the high gloss finishing, the great woods, and then when I started with the inlays, you have the. I took this course with Grit Lasky in Vienna, 2014, and he opened my mind completely differently about the inlay. So he broke the nut. He went on the headstock from the fretboard. He moves outside of the confinement of the traditional inlay and moves into the headstock. And then I said, you know what? I steal this idea and I move into the body. So I started moving, because he cannot do it. He's doing mainly acoustic guitars. But with electric, I can move on the top of the body with no problem. So I started moving very slowly in the beginning, a little bit of inlay outside, then a little more. Then I made the Giger project. It was the full body inlaid up to the neck. And now this year we move outside of the body. We're going in all the direction possible and create probably the biggest guitar inlay ever. We'll see. And
I love it.
Yeah, me too. So I'm trying to get out a little bit from the guitar and clear my mind with sport. I find it very, very helpful. And thank you for the awards. I'll try to be consistent again and show up with this project.
Yeah, I mean, it's this is the thing about when someone's passion is also their work, is that sometimes they're motivated just by what feels good, and if it doesn't feel good, they don't do it. But that's how, when this becomes the job, you have to show up to work even when you don't feel like it, because it's the right thing for your future, for your company, for your whatever it happens to be. And so, but this idea of finding the equilibrium and the balance, I don't believe you have to have this healthy work-life balance. Many people that I know, if you give them the opportunity and say, get some time off, what's happening, it's like, oh, it's a holiday. Yeah. So I think, I can share this. I was talking with Nick Huber a little while ago, and Nick, another guitar maker, was telling me how much he enjoys Sundays. Like, oh, what are you doing on Sundays? He goes, well, the workshop is closed and everyone is gone, so I can go to work just by myself. Yes. He's not talking about going and doing something else. He's saying like, no, my happy place is the workshop. My happy place is there, selecting wood, jointing it up, bringing together ideas. Yeah, and that's what he chooses to do. And that's the thing about this guitar thing, is that it's our hobby. It was our obsession before it was our work. And so it continues to be our obsession, even when it is our work. That said, there are times where we're drained. I'm drained. As a matter of fact, here, this will be the book episode. This episode was brought to you by Jamie's Bookshelf. Because this book right here, Konstantin Brancusi in New York, has been a huge influence on my thinking, my life, because I got this book on a day where I needed input. You give, and sometimes you just feel like an empty vessel. You feel drained, and you need to be filled up again, so that you can work, you can do something inspiring. And often for me, that means going to an art gallery. That means going to a really good restaurant where I'm going to be surprised by the food, some novelty without the quality is so good. You take a bite and you close your eyes and your breathing changes. You have no choice. The overwhelms your senses. They take you away from the world in a way, and good art can do the same thing, where you can see a sculpture or a painting and it causes you to stop and you breathe differently, you contemplate. I start to hum. I don't know why. I low hum in art galleries. After I've achieved some sort of better space, equilibrium, I find out that I'm humming quietly to myself, not irritatingly to everyone else. But
do you think that's related to seeing other people's resolving problems to obtain a final result? So you're like getting back that kind of release of tension that a solved project has. Like when I have a problem that I need to solve, I have all this tension building up. Like one thing is not working. But when you finally get to make it work, you have this, finally I got it. And sometimes we work towards this brief moment of satisfaction derived from having solved the problem. So maybe when you look at something completed by someone else, you kind of take this this energy of solution back. Like when you see a perfect piece of marble, perfectly sculpted, you know the effort behind it is enormous. But you can appreciate that it was done. So you say, it's done. Like the food, you taste this kind of food. Somebody took a lot of energy to create this final recipe of a combination of taste, so you can appreciate what is the solution of the problem into a taste experience.
I don't know if it's them solving it for me. I can see how it could be for someone. For me, it's causing me to see the world in a way I didn't previously see it. And that can be some of the most mundane things. And so, to complete the story about me going to the art gallery that day, I went with my family. And honestly, we walked around the museum for hours and nothing was inspiring for me. I was just completely like, this is disappointing. Like, I need something and there's nothing. And then my children were still young. We were leaving the art gallery now, unfulfilled, personally. And my kids are like, Dad, can we go? There's always a gift shop at the end. Like, Dad, can we go to the gift shop? I'm like, not the fucking gift shop. Like, it's a final nail in the coffin. The gift shop will now kill me while I see artwork I was not inspired with now on a coffee mug. Like this is... But of course, I want to be a good dad and take care of my kids and say, yeah, sure, why not? Let's go into the gift shop. And it was in the gift shop that I saw that book that caught my attention. And the sculpture is interesting on the front. I picked it up. And this book has... Let's see if I can find one quickly or not. This book has pages where there's just all of... here we go. Thinking. This one says, to see far is one thing. Going there is another. And it was the thinking of these big quotes, where he says, simplicity is complexity resolved. Mind-blowing for me. I found that sort of, that inspiration, that filling me back up again so I could create and give and be energized in the fucking gift shop where I wasn't expecting it at all. The place I did not want to go. And I'm very happy for the fact that yeah, now I don't go to art galleries and go directly to the gift shop instead of the gallery now. That didn't change my habits. But it happened. And it was the thinking. And I can recall going to an art gallery in the Netherlands, in The Hague, I think, where honestly the thing I remember most about this art gallery is the color of blue they used on one of the walls. It wasn't the paintings on the walls. It was the color of blue, because the Netherlands has this Delft blue. It's very famous in their artwork and such, which is just, for me, I don't know, this color of blue speaks to my soul. And so I left this art gallery most impressed by the painted wall. And there were amazing artworks in there. I don't want to diminish the quality of the artwork there, but the point to answer your question is that
for me, it's not necessarily a completed work even. It can be the color of a wall, or it can be a quote from an artist, as much as it could be looking at the sculpture of the artist. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm just looking for fresh perspective, I think. A way to improve my understanding. That's it. Improve my understanding. End quote. Yeah. And so really great. I think it's why I seek after novel instruments and novel experiences playing music. Is because I think it increases my understanding of the world in which I live. And it causes me to see the world differently. And when someone sees these guitars, particularly your showpieces that you bring to a NAMM show, you know, you're confronted with those guitars. You can't be ambiguous about them.
No.
It's not possible.
You need to express an opinion about them. First, the very simple one is I like it, I don't like it. But then there are more, say, complex people. I think they have a scale. I like it because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they like at least 5 points from I like it and I don't like it. Yeah. It's inevitable that you have a reaction. That's the point.
So what's inspiring you these days?
Well, I am submerged by the Lord of the Rings again because of the project. And the more I look into it, the more I'm amazed. I mean, it's a complete work of art. It's so deep. It never ends. It's unbelievable how a single man can create an entire world with languages, history, and drama. It was, the more I look into it, the more I feel like I want to capture as many details as possible of this incredible world, and that's impossible. So I'm now taking away as much as I can to simplify the idea. But yeah, it's just a time frame. You asking this question is so focused on this single subject that I can't see anything else at the moment, and that's where I'm drawing most of the inspiration.
Well, great. I mean, this. Do you want to talk a little bit more about this piece, or do you want to keep it more of a secret until the final reveal?
Well, we can add a few details, like how it became to happen. I received your email from Roberta, actually, and the invitation to prepare a piece for the next boutique guitar showcase and then. And it was April, I think March or April this year, and I was like, oh gosh, that's a huge opportunity, and the second time, and let's see, we've been talking about my story, the Lord of the Rings, now for about 2 years, and the idea of creating something inspired by the book was standing for a long time now, so it was finally time to celebrate this, since all my guitar is inspired by the Lord of the Rings, the name and the shape since the beginning. And so finally I have the opportunity to create something dedicated to only this subject, to step away from the customer request and finally make something that is mine. So I asked a friend of mine, I think you met him, Simone. He's a customer of mine, and but now became a friend, also because of the relation that creates with the guitars a long time. So we went out in a Viking pub, and we started talking about this idea. I was like, I don't really know what to pick from this huge world of the Rings to create something. And he told me, well, shoot me a few ideas why this boutique guitar showcase is important. I say, well, it will be 2026, so it will be exactly 25 years from the first movie of the Lord of the Rings. It will be also the 10th luthier guitar showcase, and it will be the 20th birthday for the G&G for my business. So many dates combined together.
And 125 years of NAMM. It's also
Oh
their
wow!
anniversary
Okay.
too.
Wow! So many days they're colliding. It's incredible. It's incredible. I mean, makes no sense. We could celebrate every day, but we do take this as a milestones. So he told me, well, what's the central part of the book? I said the two towers. It's also 25 years from the Twin Towers in New York, 2001. Why don't you create, and you are going to America, to the US, to exhibiting, why don't you create the two towers from the Lord of the Rings? So it was his idea of my friend was like, oh my God, this genius. Then I went back home and was like, yeah, two towers, but where is the meaning behind it? I don't want to look at two pillars with two guitars. I want it to be a celebration of some sort. And I watched the movie again and again. And I hear the book, The Lord of the Rings. This edition is from March 85. I was born in April 85. So it's really my same age. And there is the scenery of the Isengard Tower or tank that is taken back from the ends, from nature. I don't know if you remember the story from the movie. There are the tree from the forest go back to Isengard, and then they took it down from this evil power that Saruman was building. So nature claims back the tower. And he was connected with the other tower via the Palantir, and the other tower is Barad-dûr in Mordor. So I wanted to represent the eternal fight between good and evil, if you want. Banal, but it's part of humanity. It's been represented in every story since the beginning of time. So we have the two guitars into this building, into this construction. It will be completely inlaid from the full frame to over the guitar. The guitar are just part of the frame. And it will be representing this fight. I will not reveal anything more, but that's the concept.
Great.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Can't wait to see it.
Me too. Yeah.
And I love this imagery you explained of the inlay being confined to the fretboard and then expanding out towards the headstock with grit laskin, and that you eventually drew that into the body and completely the body. From what I recall, you've also wrapped some inlay around the back, the neck, and the body as well at points. Yes?
The back, yes. The neck, not yet. But this one will have an engraved neck back.
Okay.
Yes.
For whatever reason, I thought that some of the insects from your last art installation piece wrapped around the edge of the neck. Maybe not. That's okay. But that it's expanding more and more, because the description I've been using with the idea of the guitar and the art projects around it that I've been working on now since 2007 was the first, when I opened an art gallery. And the description in the press release was Revolution Galleries, the first gallery in the world dedicated to the guitar as sculptural art, as an icon of contemporary culture that has exceeded the bounds of its utility.
Oh, definitely.
And this description, the icon of contemporary culture that has exceeded the bounds of its utility, is what I ask
I send this description to anybody whom I ask to do an installation at the NAMM show. And I describe a little bit to say that the guitar, it must be more than a guitar itself. We can't just hang a guitar on a hook. It has to go outside of the edges, has to bleed outside of the borders, and become something more than just the guitar, to illustrate this idea that it's become more than a utilitarian object. And this is your narrative that you described, is how it is, up the headstock, down into the body, around the back, and now coming off the guitar completely into another space.
Yes. Talking with another guitar.
Narrative. Talking with another guitar.
Yes.
Great. Giulio, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show, for sharing your life and your work with us. It's a tradition here on Life with Strings Attached that I give the last question back to the guest. Is there anything that you had hoped to talk about today that maybe we didn't cover?
Well, first of all, thank you, because it never feels like an interview. It never feels like there are other people listening. It seems like we are talking like we did all the time outside of these shows, and I always enjoy our talks. It's always inspiring, refreshing also, because I live here all by myself, so sometimes I have the opportunity to to listen to fresh ideas, and I do follow your podcast. That's very inspiring. But being here with you is different. I just forgot about the whole podcast thing, and I was talking with you. So, maybe I thought about this question. I know it was coming, and maybe you want to know about the other project I'm bringing to the NAMM show. I don't know.
Please. Okay.
If I can make it, because this is the main project. And
yes.
I'm willing to leave the table empty if the other projects are not completed. I just do this piece. It's okay. But I'm thinking this one is a book-inspired project. So I made a book and movie. Another book and movie is The Beauty and the Beast. Not The Beauty and the Beast, the story of Aurora. We have a name in Italian, the Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty, yes.
So Sleeping Beauty is another one. It will be Maleficent laid on the body. And the other one is another number. Again, I completed my 300th guitar. So another book and movie will be 300 with the Spartans. So I have another inlay with the Spartan warriors. Yes. And the third one will be a re-edition of The Abyss I've made, which is inspired by Lovecraft, and will be just these tentacles going up the neck. So even more inlays on those projects too. They are all connected by the fact they are book-related. Books and movies.
There's some great English wordplay in that. Those are all novel ideas.
I love that. Yes. Well, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, Giulio, I look forward to seeing all of that. That's great, man. It's
Thanks.
You continue to evolve and inspire. Thank you for making inspiring guitars.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to show them to the world.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Giulio. We'll say goodbye for now. Thanks for being on Life with Strings Attached. Till next time.
Thank you, Jamie. Till next time.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to Life with Strings Attached. If today's conversation meant something to you, consider passing it on. These stories find their place through the people who share them. A new episode comes out every Friday, right here, wherever you're listening. I'm Jamie Gale, and thanks for listening to Life with Strings Attached.